We selected Workvivo as our tool at SJC because we were looking for something that was simple, easy to implement, not as complex as some of the other tools out there, and something that would also add an element of fun to our staff. Adding that social media look and feel to something that could be more typically a very boring intranet site with just documents and FAQs was very appealing to us, especially when we discovered the simplicity required in order to get it up and running off the ground. We didn't even need IT help, except at the very end to ensure that single sign-on was activated. Prior to having Workvivo implemented in our organization, we were using a web-based WordPress page that looked as though it might have been created in the Jurassic period for all it was up to date and modern. It was a list of documents with a single click, very hard to keep up to date, very boring, no org charts, no communication, no interactivity, and certainly no fun. It was not compelling, it was not attractive, and it was a no-brainer to want to switch to Workvivo only about 5 minutes into our first demo. My favorite Workvivo feature has to be the org charts because I'm in human resources. It is great when I can look people up, get to know what they look like so I can recognize them in the hall and address people by name when making conversation. It also allows me to get quick reminders on where people sit in the organization rather than having to go all the way into our human resources system that doesn't have those same great photographs. As a regular employee in the organization, I have to say that I also do love the different spaces where we have everything from fun ones on pets to Wordle Wednesday games version of spaces, as well as some regular work ones, new employee orientation, etc. So there's some really amazing features. But yeah, the org chart has to be the best one so that I get to know everyone. Since we adopted Workvivo, we have been very successful with using the Acknowledge button feature, allowing us to use the tool not just as a means of communications, but as a means of also getting that acknowledge when we need it on things like launching the annual employee handbook with all of the revisions, or important or urgent communications that we need to ensure every employee has seen. We've also been able to use the metrics and analytics to tailor our communications, as we now have a much better sense of which devices people are using to check in and what type of information and the presentation of information gets more traffic. This has been tremendously successful because we've also had a lot of verbal communication back that people feel we're breaking down the silos between divisions. They're learning more about their coworkers. They're meeting people they didn't know before, and we're getting much more shared information across the whole organization. This has even led to, without seeking this as a specific result, improved Glassdoor commentary and ratings, which has been a tremendous outcome. A wonderful moment I experienced through Workvivo was when we shared a highlights reel of an employee of our organization who's not just a tremendous member of our finance community, but does some significant volunteer work out in our local community as well, around volunteer annual tax clinics and a lot of work with a lot of volunteers doing work to feed the homeless and people in shelters. This highlight reel didn't just share what a tremendous colleague we have, but generated so much support and so much enthusiasm from other employees who were able to see the video that her team has expanded. Another employee of ours has reached out to her to understand how to open her own volunteer tax clinic that's free to the people who need to use it. And she has received all kinds of donations of not just perishable items to use in her weekly work towards feeding people, but also tools to continue that trade, larger saucepans for soups, volunteers, hands to actually help cook, package, and distribute. And this has been just the most incredible outcome of that broader ability to share important information across our organization. To others considering Workvivo, I would say that you will not find a better group of people to work with. The implementation was easy, the setup was easy, All of our questions after the fact were easy. This is not one of those companies that lets you implement and then abandons you, as I've so often experienced in my career. This is a company that feels that as long as changes happen with their software, they are there for you. As long as you have questions, they are there for you. Their online help center is outstanding. Their updates are wonderful. They listen to the customer. They help you with your technical glitches. They immediately solve problems. They put you in a queue and get back to you within sometimes even an hour. None of this 3 days later, you're following up nonsense. And they're just very interesting, kind, wonderful people. They also have a great newsletter after the fact. I would also say if you're considering Workvivo, this is a wonderful way of combining some social interaction, the breaking down of silos, the social media element that people so love, the ability to pull everything together in one space, as well as the more boring traditional intranet components with documents, with sign-offs, with permission levels that have one person see one element of the work and other people see a different element. And just overall, it's been a tremendous success for our organization.